This is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome to the stream. Oh, man. Kamala Harris came out today and announced her communist plan for America. We're going to talk about that. And also, I want to cover what President Trump did today, which was just spectacular and amazing, okay? And what Trump has done is a major, massive move that will just is playing all kinds of tricks on Kamala Harris. President Trump brought in Tulsi Gabbard for debate prep. Now, President Trump does not need debate prep for anyone, especially Kamala Harris, but because Tulsi destroyed Kamala Harris in that second Democrat debate 4 years ago, he's brought her in really as a head trip, kind of like when Trump had that press conference with all the Clinton accusers. Remember that? Before the debate with Hillary? It's a similar thing because Tulsi will be there with him the night of the debate. She'll be part of his entourage. Even if they didn't have an audience like they did last time, Tulsi will still be there. And since Tulsi Gabbard cleaned Kamala Harris's clock, and Kamala Harris is very well aware that she got her clock cleaned, it'll play a pretty big head trip on her and throw her off. Well, it's hard to say her game because I wouldn't call what she has a game, Kamala Harris, but it'll definitely mess with her, make her very nervous. She's got to be nervous already. Now she'll be like quadruply nervous. I mean, it's kind of like, you get beaten by someone and then they're there staring you down while you're going through another bout with someone else. It would play a head trip on most people, especially a stupid, insecure person like Kamala Harris. So that was just another huge boss move by President Trump. I mean, he is just handling everything. We also have some new polls that are out, and I'm going to start with the poll because President Trump posted this a little earlier today on Truth Social. The latest Rasmussen. Now, President Trump posted this up on Truth. I'm reading this from his Truth Social. If the 2024 election were between Kamala and Donald Trump, who would you vote for is the question. This is independents, right? They polled independents. Who would you vote for? 49% say Donald Trump. 40% of independents say Kamala. And then 7% someone else, I guess RFK, and 5% aren't sure. But President Trump now has a 9-point lead among independents. And that's huge because, I'm already decided. You are decided. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Good to see everyone. Yes. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. But any other election cycle you have ever followed, all they talk about are the independents. And if you notice in this election, they're not talking about independents. They're not talking about suburban women. They're not talking about any group, really, are they? Because when you get down to the breakdowns like this, President Trump is winning, and he's winning big. A 9-point lead among independents. That's huge because independents, by definition, are independent, and they're undecided. But they're decided now, right? And why? I mean, a lot of reasons, right? The border, the economy, the inflation, everything else. It's not just gas prices that are up, it's everything. So that is huge. A 9-point lead by Donald Trump over Kamala among independents. I mean, this Trump miracle, I know, isn't it amazing? This Trump miracle, it's just never ending. You go back in time 4 years ago when he left after his first term, who would have thought we'd be where we are right now? He did, and they've done everything they could possibly do to him. And then next month, that corrupt judge in New York is going to sentence him. What, do you think he's going to sentence him to prison? What do you think? Alan Dershowitz said on Hannity last night that he thinks Judge Merchan is going to sentence Trump to prison and then give him a suspended sentence. But Dershowitz doesn't know. Dershowitz, his analysis is based on logic. This judge is corrupt. His daughter took all that money. So he's not going to make a decision based on common sense or anything else. But just having the sentencing alone is going to shoot Trump up in the polls. He's already ahead, and his momentum is going up. And this communist manifesto agenda that Kamala Harris came out with started yesterday with the nationalization of grocery stores. That's really doing a lot of damage to her. It's really doing a lot of damage. I mean, Commie Kamala, that's the name, Commie Kamala. You guys like that, Commie Kamala? Yeah, I like that, Commie Kamala. That's right, I get a t-shirt, Commie Kamala. And people don't like that. You know, people don't like communism in this country. Now, these hardcore radical Democrats are communist, and they like it. And what I was telling Steve this morning, when Kamala Harris released this. Oh, by the way, before we get to that, there were about 109 people that showed up at that event. They had them packed in a weird way, but someone did some counting. I saw it on X. 109 people. And how many of them were staff, huh? Or their families? Isn't that something? 109 people. Where's the crowd? There's not a crowd of people that want all this communism. But, you know, the thing about this, and I was talking to Steve about this morning, what she is proposing is textbook communism. There's no doubt about it, right? And no one in her orbit said, you know, Madam Vice President, whatever they call her, you know, this isn't a good idea. This is communism, and Americans don't like communism. I don't think we should say this. Remember when Obama said, everyone, you gotta have skin in the game, you gotta spread the wealth? No one in her circle, no one in her advisors, no one on her staff, no one on Walz's group recognized the nationalization of grocery stores in the food industry is something that Americans wouldn't want, that it's communist and we wouldn't want it. They think it sounds great, which shows how far gone they are. Oh, man. So let me go through some of this. I've got some sound bites that I want to go through. And hold on one second here. Let me go through this article first, and I'll play some of the sound bites. This is in the New York Post. Kamala Harris's economic plan is, I guess, communism. Kamala Harris kicked off her campaign speech in North Carolina announcing her new economic plan that would give about $1.7 trillion in handouts to those struggling in the Biden-Harris economy and set price controls on groceries. Her economic plan includes measures to ban price gouging, which what is price gouging? I mean, what does she mean by that? Stopping sellers from selling groceries at unfair prices. Well, who's going to decide in Commie Kamala land what an unfair and what a fair price is, right? I guess she would, right? Yeah. I thought the market decided. But no, Kamala's going to decide. She's going to sit around with Tim Walz, Stolen Valor, CCP agent. They're going to sit around and they're going to decide what a fair price is for everything. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice of Kamala Harris? That's right. As well as give $25,000 to help first-time homeowners with their down payments, and up to a $6,000 tax break for lower and middle-income families who have a child in their first year of life. Okay. This thing about the $25,000 to help first-time home buyers, okay? That's insane. A college education is very expensive. You know, when I went to college, I went as an adult, I paid my way. It took me a long time because I had to pay my way and for the books. The reason college is so expensive is because of crap like this. The government started giving student loans, right? And when government started giving unlimited student loans, the colleges started raising the prices. And that's why college is so expensive now. And that's why there's so much student loan debt. So giving people $25,000, all that's going to do is put the prices up, probably at least by $25,000. That's just a feel-good thing. All government giveaways, right, President Trump, his economic plan is drill, baby, drill, flood oil into the marketplace, lower the price of gasoline, which will bring down the price of everything. People will have money. People will be working. People will be making more money. People will be going out spending money. It's called capitalism, supply and demand and all that stuff, the economic side. What Kamala's talking about is just government handouts. Let me go back. Where am I? Okay. The Trump campaign has taken issue with her price control policies. Damn right they have. Calling them communist and comparing her proposals to those of other leaders in Venezuela and Cuba. Oh, yeah, the paradises of Venezuela and Cuba. When the government comes in and takes over food production and sets prices, that leads to food shortages and even, famines. That's right. And that's a Trump campaign economist. Economist Stephen Moore added that the average margin for a grocery store or 7-Eleven selling food is between 2 and 3 percentage points. So, yeah, that's true. The profit margin on food is not that much. There's certain things that are, like, if you go into the 7-Eleven and you get the, you get the big gulp, there's profit in that. But the other stuff is just to draw you in. And the same thing in the grocery stores. They don't make a lot of money. It's very, very low markup on groceries. Many Americans don't yet feel the progress of the Biden economy in their daily lives. No kidding. No kidding. Yeah, 2-3%. Now, Kamala, listen to this. Let me pull her up here.
But our supply chains have now improved. And prices are still...
Oh, hold on. Just lost my connection. Give me a second. Let me go back.
Now improved. And prices are still...
Every time it gets to that part, it stops.
A loaf of bread cost 50% more today than it did before the pandemic.
Wow. See, now this is something a lot of people are going to be talking about today. Kamala Harris just realized that the price of bread has increased by 50% under the Kamala Harris-Biden economy. Isn't that nice? I appreciate that. She saved Trump the trouble of having to share that himself.
Bread cost 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50%.
Oh, so ground beef is 50% more than it was when they came into office. Isn't that nice?
But our supply chain...
That's just wonderful. Now, this 109 people in attendance, I just got an update I'm reading here on X. And this, I'm not kidding, okay? 109 people in attendance at Kamala's introduction of communism to America speech today. That included staff and press. And I tweeted a picture that's an overhead from the back corner of the room. You could see the entire room. There are very few chairs for an audience. I mean, that was like a set. That was, that's pretty brutal.
When I am elected president, I will make it a top priority to bring down costs and increase economic security for all Americans.
How's she going to do that?
When I am elected president, I will make it a top priority to bring down costs and
there's just something about her voice. What kind of accent is this?
Top priority to bring down costs.
Cost. What kind of accent is that? It's kind of like a Barbra Streisand accent, but she's not a New Yorker.
To bring down costs and increase economic security for all Americans.
Yeah, by redistributing the wealth and nationalizing the food industry. This speech she gave today shows how stupid she and her entire staff are. Yes, the prices have gone up by 50% under her watch with Joe Biden. But for her to come out there and say that bread and I think have gone up by 50% since she's been in office, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen a politician do. Is she campaigning for herself or Donald Trump? That was just stupid. That'll probably be that clip. My guess is that clip will be the soundbite of this ridiculous speech today.
We know that many Americans don't yet feel that progress in their daily lives.
The progress of the Biden-Harris economic recovery.
We know that many Americans don't yet feel that progress in their daily lives. Costs are still too high. And on a deeper level, for too many people, no matter how much they work, it feels so hard to just be able to get ahead.
Is Kamala giving a speech on why you should vote for Trump and not for her? Because all she's telling us is how bad that she and Joe Biden have wrecked the American economy. This is really amazing. I can't believe.
As president, I will take on the high costs that matter most to most Americans, like the cost of food. We all know that prices went up during the pandemic when the supply chains shut down and failed. But our supply chains have now improved, and prices are still too high.
Oh.
A loaf of bread costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50%.
See, now maybe what they're trying to, I mean, this is beautiful. She's admitting that things have gone up 50%. This is beautiful. This is really a beautiful thing. Just stupid. In fact, that clip right there will probably make its way in either a Trump commercial or a Trump PAC commercial. That's made for a Donald Trump commercial. Kamala Harris, that's basically a Kamala Harris endorsement of Trump in so many ways. She is dumb as a box of rocks. I mean, she has got to be one of the dumbest people to ever run for president of the United States. I mean, for her to go out there and say something so stupid and admit something. I mean, hey, listen, I give her credit for honesty, right? We can give her that. By the way, if you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. My name is Brian. Now, President Trump made this huge master boss move by hiring Tulsi Gabbard to do debate prep. Do any of you really think that Donald Trump needs to do debate prep for Kamala Harris with Tulsi Gabbard now? He could get anyone on the staff to do it. And, yeah, but dumber than a stack of doll hammers. I like that one. I haven't heard that one in a while. That's good. He doesn't need to do debate prep with Tulsi Gabbard. He could pick anybody on his staff and do debate prep, right? They could play Kamala, right? But the whole purpose of him bringing in Tulsi Gabbard is psychological. It's to do a head trip on her. He's brought her in to just freak her out. Now, he probably will be doing prep with her. I mean, he brought her on board. Why not? But he doesn't have to do it. She'll be with them. She'll be hanging out. And when it's debate night, she'll arrive with President Trump. She'll get out of the SUV with President Trump. Tulsi Gabbard will walk in with President Trump and his entourage. And Tulsi Gabbard will be sitting there right in the front row with President Trump's family and senior staff right in front of Kamala, sitting right there. And Kamala's going to have to stand up there, debate the great debater, Donald Trump, while she's facing the woman who cleaned her clock the last time she saw her at that second Democrat debate. So this is an amazing thing. This is beautiful. It is such a psychological head trip. And what I said at the beginning of the stream, if you weren't with us then, is this is the equivalent to when President Trump had that press conference before the debate with Hillary with all Bill Clinton's sex victims. It's just beautiful. You know, I tell you, President Trump thinks so outside the box that no one can ever predict what Trump is going to do, how he's going to react. You just never know, because he does not do things like a normal politician. He thinks about things in just a different way, and no one other than Trump would think of doing that, bringing in Tulsi Gabbard. And when Kamala is looking out at that audience, Tulsi Gabbard they're gonna make sure that she has the best seat in the Trump section for Kamala to have to look at her as much as possible during the debate. I wonder if Tulsi Gabbard's gonna wear that white pantsuit that she wore in that debate against Kamala 4 years ago. Yeah, Maria says a psych ops. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep, that's exactly right. But I pulled up. This is a clip of Tulsi Gabbard when she cleaned Kamala's clock, and Kamala's response was pathetic.
Congresswoman Gabbard, you took issue with Senator Harris confronting Vice President Biden at the last debate. You called it a, quote, false accusation that Joe Biden is a racist. What's your response?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting Black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Okay, now she just cleaned her clock. I mean, she called her a slaver, right? She was keeping prisoners in bondage so they could be used as slaves, all these things, you know. So let's hear Kamala's brilliant response to these accusations.
Harris, your response.
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of
She loves to say that, the work that needs to be done. That's one of her favorite phrases, Kamala.
And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform. That is why we created initiatives that were about re-entering former offenders and getting them counseling. It is why, and because I know that criminal justice system is so broken, that I am an advocate for what we need to do to not only decriminalize, but legalize.
I'm an advocate for what we need to do. Okay, so she didn't deny any of the accusations made against her. And this is a beautiful thing. So when President Trump talks about the rape and murder of Lincoln Riley, the rape of this woman in Staten Island, all these murders and rapes of Americans by migrants, illegals that were brought here under her watch as vice president and as borders are, is she going to avoid it like that? Well, we're doing what has to be done, and we tried to pass this comprehensive. She's going to look like an idiot. And, you know, Tulsi Gabbard cleaned her clock so well. She dropped out after that, remember? She dropped out just a few days after that debate. She was destroyed by Tulsi Gabbard. And the Bidens brought Tulsi in for the same reason that Trump brought Tulsi in, and that's to take down Kamala Harris. And I don't think many of the women in the chat will disagree with this. Women like this, like professional women, they don't get along. Women don't really get along. They get very catty, and they don't get along. And these two women, they don't get along. And Tulsi Gabbard's a lot smarter than Kamala. And I think this psych ops operation with Tulsi Gabbard that President Trump is doing is pretty smart. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, guys. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And if you're new, welcome. You'll love the community here, I promise you, okay? But do make sure that you subscribe. So this is just a masterful move. And if you go to my Twitter, X, Brian Craig Show, you can see some of the pictures. 109. This is for Kamala's event today. 109 people showed up to Kamala's rally in North Carolina today, and that does include press and staff. So where is the crowd? Where's the support? Where's the momentum for Kamala? I'm not seeing it. Are you seeing it? Oh, there's also a new poll from Interactive Polls. Oh, let me pull this up. I don't want to forget this. This is on Interactive Polls, and it's from Emerson College in Pennsylvania. Harris is now behind Trump in Pennsylvania. So he's got momentum on his side. It's 49-48. And this is a likely voter poll, plus or minus 3. So President Trump actually could be, like 52 in that poll, with leans 51-49. So President Trump is got the momentum. It is over. What she did yesterday with the this communist, let's take over, the food industry, the grocery stores, let's set prices, let's be that's done her a lot of damage that she's not going to recover from. The American people are not into that. Yeah, Cool Roy says GOP new registrations up 4-1 in Pennsylvania. Yeah, and and here in Florida, I saw on the local news here in Florida, early voting's going on. We got primaries going on, and Republican turnout has been huge in Florida and our primaries, and also Republican voter registrations here in Florida and around the country are just going through the roof. When people wake up and get red pilled, you don't have to switch parties, but people don't want to walk around with a Democrat voters registration card in their wallet. It's like it's like wearing dirty underwear. You know what I mean? You don't want to be caught with a Democrat voters registration. I just got my new voter registration in the card. So did my wife a couple days ago, just mailed to us, which is good because I had lost my other one. And good. I'm glad. I've been voting in the same place for years. I have the same polling place, but I like to have the card. They really should make you renew your voter registration every 4 years or 10 years. Like you do your driver's license. Obama. Well, I remember Obama told Biden when he told him that he had to drop out not to endorse Kamala, and he did, and look where they are. They may have a little facade of a celebration because they got the convention on Monday, okay? But it's going to be short-lived, and it's not going to fly. And, this exchange that they had with Nancy Mace, because Nancy Mace says Kamala, like I say Kamala. Don't you guys say Kamala? The panel of Democrats just had a freak out that she says Kamala. Here we've got Kamala admitting that ground beef and bread prices are up 50% under her watch. That doesn't bother them. But saying Kamala instead of, what is it, Kamala? If you say Kamala instead of Kamala, they have a freak out. And I like Nancy Mace. She stood her ground. But the thing about this, it shows where their priorities are. They don't care about the suffering of the American people. But it also shows how out of balance these talking head panels are on CNN. She says Kamala, and the whole table goes nuts at her. Listen, this is Nancy Mace on CNN.
And to date, more than 3 weeks in, Kamala Harris hasn't given a single interview. She hasn't come on your program. She's not answering questions.
It's
She's not
Kamala,
giving
first
speeches.
of all. It's not Kamala. It's Kamala.
Kamala Harris comes out with
Kamala,
her
Kamala.
Harris comes out with her policies. Kamala's.
You almost got it.
I will say
You almost
Kamala's
did
name
it.
any way that I want to.
No,
but Kamala.
but you mispronounce her and you also misjudge her.
I just did.
When you mispronounce her, you also misjudge her? What does that mean?
But when you disrespect Kamala Harris by saying you will call her whatever you want, I know you don't intend it to be that way. That's the history and legacy of white disregard for the humanity of black people.
Oh, so now you're calling me racist.
I didn't say. I just said
that
you weren't
is BS.
racist.
That is complete
No, you don't
BS.
have to intend racism
No,
to
no.
accomplish
You are
it.
intending that I
Your
am
disrespect
racist,
of Kamala
and
Harris
that is
part and
offensive.
parcel of it.
And
Your
it's wrong.
disrespect.
It's offensive.
Congresswoman,
And it's,
why can't you
it's
just?
offensive.
I'm
That
not
is
calling you a
disgusting.
racist. I'm
No,
saying
you are.
what the
You
practice
are.
is
You
racist.
are. You absolutely are.
No, what's disgusting
That
is your
disgusting.
disrespect of her.
Professor,
This gentleman said,
you know what?
I didn't know her name.
Disgusting
He's
to
trying
women
to do
is
it.
her disrespect of women. She doesn't know what a woman is. And if 25 years ago,
White
I
women don't have the ability to tell black women who paid the price of blood to make this country what it is to tell them they're not real women.
25 years
And
ago,
respected
I
your
became the
humanity.
first woman to graduate from the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina. I
So call
fought
her
my
name
way
right.
through it.
So pronounce her name
blood,
right.
sweat, and tears.
So pronounce her name
And
right.
Kamala Harris, if
Kamala,
I were a man,
You said
I
it
will
without
say
calling her Nancy
any way that I
Nancy.
want.
It's almost like The View. I mean, this CNN panel is so out of whack. She has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people jumping on her over saying Kamala.
Pamela, you're doing
That's disrespectful.
You can't expect people to
If
respect
a man put
service
on
if
a
you
shirt and
disrespect
walked that stage 25 years ago, she
You're a
would have
white
said
woman
it. She would have
disrespecting a
taken
black
that
woman. That is
achievement away from
problematic.
women.
Mr.
That's
Dyson, let me get in
disgusting.
here.
And just because I'm white doesn't mean I'm racist. I have worked with folks.
Nobody
said
said it
No,
was, but
you are. He said because
there's a
no,
bunch
you
of
said
people
it's not
running
racist
around
earlier.
and this
But
pronouncing
I
her
have
name.
worked
A deliberate mispronunciation
with
of the word
blacks
is
and
a
whites
racist.
throughout the
Let's let her
legislature, throughout Congress. I have reached across the aisle. I have.
I mean, women in this country are being raped and murdered by illegals that Kamala is bringing here, and this is what has them upset, right? This is what has them upset. They're not upset by that. They're upset by saying Kamala. Isn't that just, that's just beautiful? That's just beautiful, you know. I wonder really what her mother called her. I would love to find. Wouldn't it be beautiful if we found an old home movie, some old VHS tape? Her mother worked at the university. There's got to be some tape, and her mother called her Kamala. Wouldn't that be hilarious? I mean, this Kamala. I mean, come on. Kamala will do. I never heard them make, the reason they make a big deal about the pronunciation of the name is because it's a way for them to not have to deal with what an incompetent boob she is, what an idiot she is, and the destruction that her and Biden have brought. It gives them a way to try to turn the tables against someone. But I'm glad Nancy Mace did what she did. She shouldn't say Kamala. It's Kamala. It's just like it's not Fanny, it's Fanny. Look at how it's spelled, okay? This is American standard English, people, and that's just the way it is. Now, I want to share with you. I'm going to put this link. Let me put this link in the chat. Hold on, guys, because I want to share this with you. But Robert Allen Miltenberg, who watches here on YouTube, let me type this in. Hold on. Hold on. He's written this book. I've promoted two others of his. This is the third book of Robert Allen Miltenberg's that I've promoted on the program here. This one is a science fiction book. There's a link to it in the description of the video, as well as pinned to the top of the chat, and it's called The Sound of Light. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you can get the book for free. I bought the paperback. It's $9.99 for the paperback. And it's got large print. It's a science fiction book. I've been reading it. It's a great book. Robert Allen Miltenberg, he is in the chat each and every day. He doesn't chat too much, but he's in there every day with you guys. And his books are great. The Sound of Light. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. It's also in the description. Like I said, if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free, but you can buy it on Kindle Unlimited. It's inexpensive. And it's just $9.99 in paperback, which is the one I bought. So order your book. Support Robert Allen Miltenberg. And yeah, it's only if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free. If you don't have Kindle Unlimited, it's only $3. And the paperback is just $9.99. Okay? So support the channel, support my content, and support Robert Allen Miltenberg. He's a good MAGA guy. All right, let's get back to the news here because there's so much to cover. Hold on, let me get to this. There's a, let's see here, let me pull this one up. There's a new poll out of another likely voter poll, and 1,200 likely voters. It is from the Daily Express and the Democracy Institute, and this is a nationwide poll, 1,200 likely voters, which is the most scientific sampling you can do for a poll. 48 to 44 Trump with a 4-point lead nationally. If you add RFK and then the undecideds, Trump leads by 4, 45 to 41, with RFK getting 7, undecideds 3, national poll. I mean, and you're seeing in the polls, now we've got Stolen Valor Walz out there. He's been out there for, I don't know, it seems like forever. Is this the second week that Walz has been with her, and they've done nothing but have to defend his stolen valor and his other scumminess, okay? The only break they've gotten from defending Walz was, yesterday when she wants to turn in the farming industry and the grocery business into collective farming and collective grocery stores right out of the Soviet Union. It's the only break they've got. So the polls are starting to reflect that. Now, they may get a bump this week because, the media is going to be doing all this coverage of the convention. We're going to have a weak pep rally like we had a weak pep rally. And the media are going to conduct their own polls. And, so you may see some polls from CNN and Fox and other media outlets that show her getting a bump from the convention. Don't buy that. Don't buy that. She had 109 people at her big speech today where she's unveiling her platform, and the 109 included press and her staff. So how many actual people were there? 50? 48? I don't know, right? So, no, things are not, there's no momentum. Things are not going to turn in her favor. She and Tim Walz are going to lose, and they're going to lose bad. And I really hope we find out early on election night, because I got to get up in the morning to be on the air to celebrate with you guys. Yeah, I'm serious. 109 people, Scotty. I'm not kidding, Scotty boy. 109 people. Multiple sources have reported that. And they have such an accurate count because there were so few people in the room, they could just go around and go 1, 2, 3, 4. They could just count. Now, they had them set up in a way like a TV set, so on TV it looked like a rally and a lot of people, but 109, including her staff and including the press. I mean, isn't that something? Isn't that something? Oh, yeah. Now, some reporters went out on the streets, Sky News went out on the streets of Philadelphia and talked to black people about who they're voting for.
I actually like Trump. Yeah, I think he's done a lot for our country. And I know some people may not like him because of his character, certain things he said. But I think what we need to look more at is other policies that are being implemented that can impact our country. And so I don't like Harris as a candidate.
There you go. A black man on the streets of Philadelphia in the daytime admitting he's voting for a Republican. I never thought I'd see that in my life. A black man on the streets of Philadelphia telling a reporter on television out in the open that he's voting for a Republican. Who would have thought? Now that's amazing. It really is. That is a very, very unusual. That's how bad things are in this country. That the Democrats have lost the black vote, isn't it? It's beautiful. It is. We are just blessed to be living in this time. We are living in the time of the most exciting presidential election, maybe in history. Really, there has not been. There's not been an election this important since maybe Lincoln. And out of all of the ones in my lifetime, nothing has been as exciting as this. This is just great to be a part of this. Have a president come back for a second and non-consecutive term, and the country misses him. Even the people that used to hate him, they want him back. Isn't that something? I know, it's amazing. It's amazing. Now, this is an interesting thing. Jack Posobiec, who's a very credible man, found a 21-year-old newspaper article about Tim Walz, okay? And he took a screenshot and posted it on X today. And this is what Jack Posobiec wrote. In 2003, when he was on his way to Italy, First Sergeant Tim Walz told local media, quote, "In the big scheme of deployments, this probably isn't too bad. I thought we might end up in Iraq," because remember, he's going to Italy, and he's got the article right here. This is this guy. Tim Walz. Have you ever seen a pick as a running mate that was as much of a disaster as Tim Walz? No, there's never been one. I mean, this guy, I've got a podcast that is going to go live here on YouTube tonight. You will not want to miss it, okay? And the thumbnail is, let me see what the thumbnail is, because I want to get it right so you guys see it. It's not up yet, but after this stream, I am going to set it up. It's with my wife, Kathy. You will not want to miss it. The thumbnail is Tim Walz' Chinese asset. Tim Walz' Chinese asset. And we're gonna get into that and talk about it. He spent his entire career in service for the CCP. Okay? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a great podcast. You won't want to miss it. It will be up tonight right here on YouTube, and of course on all the podcast platforms. But if you tune into it here on YouTube, you can participate in the chat. So this is the moment when Kamala Harris yesterday started to destroy her pathetic campaign.
It has to be about a goal of saying everybody should end up in the same place. And since we didn't start in the same place, some folks might need more. Equitable distribution. Giving resources based...
Equitable distribution. This is textbook Marxism.
On equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. So there's a big difference between equality and equity. Equality suggests often everybody should get the same thing. Well, that often assumes everybody started out in the same place. As opposed to equity, which is everyone should end up in the same place. And if you then understand not everybody started out in the same place, you understand some people need more. So we all end up in the same place, right? We are proud of the fact that equity is one of our guiding principles. Proud of the fact that we understand equality is important, but not everybody starts out on the same base.
She has this goes on and on. I'm not going to play any more of it. She has a very limited vocabulary. She says the same thing all the time over. She is the most repetitive person ever that I've ever seen in politics. Maybe you could get away with that before the internet and before television, okay? But in this day and age, you look like an idiot. Now, of course, the greatest president ever, Donald Trump, his press conference yesterday, was that not spectacular? I loved it. Do you guys love it? It was a great press conference. His second one in a week. He did one this week, did one last week. And I imagine he might be doing one every week for a while. And that press conference yesterday was a beautiful one. Here's a clip.
We'll get it fixed. Yes, Brian. On day one, I'll do this. And for...
Kamala's been promising on day one, I'll do this.
We'll get it fixed. Yes, Brian.
This is Brian, that formerly of Right Side, who's now Brian of, what is he on now? Real America's Voice?
On day one, I'll do this. And for basically 4 years, she's promised this day one. Yeah. What will you do on day one to turn this country around? So she is saying when she gets in, she's in now. And especially with...
Don't you love it? On day one, when I get in. And that's a great answer President Trump had.
This country around. So she is saying when she gets in, she's in now. And especially with Biden, because, he's not in the best of shape. But you know what? She's in there now. She can do anything she wants. And she's still saying, if you elect me, I'll do this, I'll do... Why didn't she do it? Here's my one question. It's the easiest question. Because she complains about everything. Why didn't she do it? That's all I ask. On day one, we're going to drill, baby, drill, and we're going to close the border, and we're going to let people come in, but they're going to come in legally. They're going to come into our country legally. But
okay, so there you go. Totally. Yeah, I love it. He was great. That press conference was one of the best that he's had some great press conferences, but we just haven't seen one in a long time. When's the last time we saw a Trump press conference like that one? That was like the old days during the lockdowns. Now, Kamala's first decision as an executive, right, was to pick this idiot stolen valor CCP operative, Tim Walz, to be her running mate. And listen to this. House Committee and Oversight and Accountability Chairman, Congressman James Comer, Republican of Kentucky, has initiated an investigation into Minnesota Governor Timothy Walz's background. The inquiry comes amid growing concerns over the governor's reported connections to the Chinese Communist Party, that's the CCP, entities and officials. In a strongly worded letter to the FBI director, Chairman Comer requested a comprehensive review of all information, documents, and communications related to Governor Walz's engagement with CCP, affiliated entities, and officials. Oh, this is great. And this is not going to go away. When Kamala Harris and Tim Walz lose, this is not going to go away. He's put himself out there on the national stage. He's obviously a Chinese asset. He's a Chinese operative. They flipped him at some point. The investigation will also examine any advisories or warnings that the FBI may have provided to the governor concerning the CCP's influence operations targeting U.S. political figures. The CCP is sought, and this is beautiful. This guy, he's going to find himself maybe out of office as governor, right? Exactly. I know, it's beautiful. If you're new to my channel, guys, make sure you subscribe, all right? You'll love this channel. I promise you, you'll love this channel. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And, President Trump, follow that Chinese money. Well, with Tim Walz, it doesn't look like it's a financial thing like it is with the Bidens. He's like been brainwashed. He's a true believer. He's the Manchurian candidate, no doubt about it. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. I appreciate all you guys joining me in the chat and supporting my channel. I do appreciate it. Thanks so much for your support. And those of you that are members, don't forget you have access to all the. If you're a member, you get your name in the green, so you stand out, and you have all those member emojis. My wife makes all those emojis, and she added a few new ones of Trump, and there's one of the new ones, and there's a new one in there of J.D. Vance. So President Trump, he's made two big boss moves, right? Bringing Tulsi Gabbard in on the debate. But today, President Trump announced his White House transition team. Isn't this amazing? He announced, this is it. The Trump campaign announced their White House transition team today. That's exactly right. And it is made up of Linda McMahon. That's right, from the wrestling world. Howard Lutnick, Senator, who will at this point be Vice President-elect, J.D. Vance, Donald Trump Jr., and Eric Trump. There it is. He's already announced. That is possession, right? 9/10 of the law. Possession. He has taken possession. He's already got his transition team together. Oh, my goodness. Isn't that something? I love it. I love it. And, another thing that he said this week, President Trump, that he's going to do, the thing about Trump, when he says something, when he makes a campaign promise, he's going to do it. I mean, in his first term, he did everything he promised he would do. He had to start making new promises, right? He is the only politician ever who intends and keeps the promises they make during the campaign. Now, of course, he's talking about the deportation. He's going to bring the deportations in of all the illegals that are here. But he also said he's going to be deporting all these foreign national Hamas supporters that are causing havoc in the country. And that is a very smart idea. There's so many people in this country that are causing havoc. These protests that are going on against Israel in favor of Hamas. This is insanity that's going on. And they have these operatives over here, really, that are backed and financed by Iran, which means we're financing them because we give Iran all that money. And he's going to deport them, and they should be deported. They're agitators, and they're causing a lot of dissent in this country and giving a false impression that there's a legitimate movement against Israel in favor of Hamas, and there's not. And when he starts the deportations, they're going to be more popular than I think people realize. I mean, the drain on our country from the illegals is on a scale we don't even realize. On our local hospital system, police system, the food stamps, the federal government through the Medicare or Medicaid system. I mean, what's going on is a big strain, And the polls now moving in Trump's favor. Kamala's starting to even lose the liberal media, and she's losing them because, well, she's avoiding them so much. And this is Jim Acosta talking to her spokesperson.
Would it kill you guys to have a press conference? Why hasn't she had a press conference?
Listen, the Vice President and Governor Walz have been busy crisscrossing this country since the launch of this campaign and adding Governor Walz to the ticket.
What's with the chuckle? Why did he chuckle?
Saw the ways in which they went across the battleground states last week, generating rallies of thousands, 10,000 here, 15,000 there. But
Michael, you know, a campaign rally is not a press conference. Do you mind if I cut in? I mean, you know, a campaign rally is not a press conference. Why hasn't she had a press conference? She's the vice president. She can handle the questions. Why not do it?
Oh, we absolutely are going to do it. You hear her take questions as she's out on the stump, and she said last week we're going to be having a sit-down interview here before the end of the month. What she's going to be focused on and what this campaign is going to be focused on is communicating directly with the voters that are actually going to decide the pathway to 270 electoral votes. That's why she
commit to a press conference this week?
This past week. That's why we're doing a bus tour in Pennsylvania as we head into Chicago. And it's why we'll sit down for an interview before the end of the month to make sure that we can have a deep dive conversation about the vision that Kamala Harris has for where she wants to take this country and the contrast that we're going to have with Donald Trump. We're going to have plenty of opportunities to do that throughout the rest of
but one interview by the end of the month.
This month and throughout the rest of this campaign.
I don't want to, belabor this, but one interview before the end of the month. I mean, that's not a lot. I mean, can you commit to a press conference before the end of the month?
We will commit to directly engage with the voters that are actually going to decide this election. And that is going to be complete with rallies, with sit-down interviews, with press conferences, with all the digital assets that we have at our disposal.
There you go. Okay. So this is a big deal because that's Jim Acosta and CNN. Jim Acosta hates Trump like nobody's business. When you're the Democrat who's running for president against Donald Trump and you've lost Jim Acosta and his support, you're in big, big trouble. All right? You're in big trouble. When you've got Jim Acosta openly criticizing you as the Democrat running against Donald Trump, it's over for you. Now, I just pinned into the chat, there's also a link in the description of the video, to my MyPillow page. And if you would like to support my channel and my content, when you do, use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, at MyPillow.com. And it's free shipping on all orders, site-wide, on orders that are over $75. And it's a pretty good deal. Free shipping on all orders over $75. And there's just incredible deals going on. You can get the MyPillow that is just an amazing pillow, the Giza MyPillow, which is the upscale version of the MyPillow for just $19.98 with my promo code Kane at checkout. You can get the MyPillow towel sets for $25 with my promo code Kane at checkout as well. Absolutely, absolutely. The MyPillow sheets, $25 with my promo code Kane. The MyPillow 2.0 with the temperature regulating technology is buy one, get one free. The MyPillow slippers, just $25. There's special site-wide. The MyPillow coffee, 50% off with my promo code Kane. The MyPillow dog beds, we just got a new one, the pet bed for our new kittens, just $25. And again, I pinned the link to my MyPillow page at the top of the chat, and there's also a link in the description of the video. And when you use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, you can save up to 80%, free shipping on all orders over $75, and you are supporting my content. It's greatly appreciated, guys. I do very much appreciate that. All right, so here's President Trump yesterday. Here's a clip from the press conference, and this really says it all. This is when she came out and talked about nationalizing the food industry.
She's running on the Maduro plan. We call it the Maduro plan, like something straight out of Venezuela or the Soviet Union. This announcement is an admission that her economic policies have totally failed and caused really a catastrophe for our country, and beyond that, a catastrophe in the world.
You know, the thing about this communist business that Kamala has started up with, you know, in the United States, no matter who the president is, the country is about 50-50 divided on the issues. But Americans are united on some things. And one thing that the majority of Americans are united against is communism. Americans don't like communism. Communism is bad. You saw what it did in the Soviet Union, Cuba, Venezuela. You know what communism does? It causes famine, extreme poverty. Nothing good comes from communism. And when Kamala Harris did that yesterday, that was it for her. And then she came out today and quadrupled down on it. Yeah, he is just, Donald Trump has a lot of talents. He has a lot of talents, but his greatest talent is in marketing, branding, and messaging. And this is the clip. I was looking for this a few minutes ago. This is when he's talking about deporting all of these Hamas supporters.
When I'm president, we will deport the foreign jihad sympathizers, and we will deport them very quickly, and Hamas supporters will be gone. If you hate America, if you want to eliminate Israel, then we don't want you in our country. We really don't want you in our country. I will ban refugee settlements from terror-infested areas like the Gaza Strip, and we will arrest the pro-Hamas thugs who vandalize federal property and make really life very, very difficult in this country for a lot of people.
That's great, isn't it? It's just, why should these people be running around? They took down our American flags from Union Station in D.C. They burned the American flags, and then they raised the Palestinian flags. Are you kidding me? That's a federal crime. It's multiple federal crimes. And they spray painted all over the stone. It's going to be there forever. President Trump, what they did is, it's if they're Americans, it's treasonous. And that's just something that cannot be allowed to continue. That's it.
But we must declare that without hesitation that what happened to Paris and happened to London, have you seen what's going on? And what happened to Europe will never happen here. But it is happening. It is happening. They say that going to the Democrat convention next week are going to be hundreds of thousands of people that are opposed to Israel. It's their big problem. That's their thing. And not even believable, but hundreds of thousands they're projecting right now. Hundreds of thousands. That's a lot. We will not let a jihad. There will be no jihad coming to America under Trump.
That's right. No jihad coming to America under Trump. Absolutely. Absolutely. Today I was talking about Clay Higgins, congressman, and he uncovered something about this attempted assassin of President Trump, who's a murderer. He murdered a man. This dim donor that shot Trump, murdered a man, shot two other MAGA guys in Pennsylvania. And what he uncovered was just shocking. That the FBI released the shooter's body to be cremated. Why do you think they did that? Why did they, just 10 days after the assassination attempt, they cremated the body? Why do you think they did that? There's photos and videos of the FBI going up there with a hose and hosing off the roof and destroying all the physical evidence there, and then they burn the body. This conspiracy around Trump gets bigger and bigger every day, because what they've done before our very eyes is destroy the evidence, not even hide destroying the evidence. They weakened his security. Everything around this whole thing stinks. And that's why I think every MAGA person believes that this was a deep state op. Do you guys think that was a deep state op? It seems that way to me. It seems that way to me. And, we'll get to the bottom of it eventually. In Trump's second term, we've got to get to the bottom of it, because the people that were behind that, it cannot be allowed to just be like, well, okay, we're back in office, we got to move on, we're not going to prosecute these things. It cannot be allowed. They cannot get away with it. And I really hope that not only does he get to the bottom of that he declassifies all the Kennedy files, because it's really same people involved in both. Now, here's another clip of President Trump's great press conference yesterday in New Jersey.
Virtually 100% of the net job creation in the last year has gone to migrants. You know that? Most of the job creation has gone to migrants. Virtually 100% of the net job
has gone to migrants, illegals. I mean, think about that. What is the point in that? I see some trolls in the chat. That's okay. Why would you support Kamala Harris and not Donald Trump? Why? What? I was asking this question today. What is Kamala Harris's agenda? Right. Well, today we got it, communist. But why would you vote for her over Donald Trump? Can you articulate it? Could you say, I am voting for Kamala Harris and not Trump because of this? Right. Right. No. Yeah, Soup Bone, you can answer it. Absolutely. That's why I asked the question. You were voting for Kamala Harris, not Trump, because of this. Well, the felony convictions against Trump are fake. That's corrupt. That she's not Trump, that's pretty weak. I mean, you look at the situation of the country. When Trump left office at the end of his first term, he handed Joe Biden and Kamala Harris a perfect country. The economy was booming. The border was closed. Crime was low. And they wrecked everything. And there were no new wars going on. President Trump is the first president since the end of World War II to not start a new conflict. And they started two. Israel and Hamas, Russia and Ukraine. And not liking someone is not reason to vote for someone else because their ideology is completely different. I mean, Kamala Harris is literally running on raising taxes. Think about that. I mean, raising taxes. On top of the high prices, she's going to raise your taxes and allow the Trump tax cuts, which all of you take, expire. And what about the no taxes on tips? That no taxes on tips and no taxes on Social Security. The senior citizens should not have to pay tax on Social Security. He's going to rid them of that. The government takes your money your whole life and your payroll deductions for Social Security, and then they tax you on it when they give it back to you after they've been holding it for 50 years, 60 years, however long you've been working. And tips, people that are part of the tip economy don't typically pay income tax. They pay payroll taxes. So when tax cuts are drawn up, they don't get tax breaks because they're tip workers. So they never get a tax break. So if there's no tax on tips, the tip workers, most of them, will be getting a tax break for the first time in their life. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And before Trump, who thought of doing something like that? Now, I know Kamala Harris is trying to steal, Trump's things. Like today, J.D. Vance met with the police, got their endorsement. He had his dog with him. And then next thing you know, Tim Walz is on TikTok with his dog. Really? What are they copycats here? Trump says no taxes on tips, so Kamala comes out and says no taxes on tips. Kamala Harris is an incumbent. It's like Trump said, her first day, she's there now. She's in now. She's been there for almost 4 years, and she hasn't done any of these things. And she's promising that if you elect her in the CCP Stolen Valor asset, that she's going to do all these things all of a sudden. Well, why doesn't she do them now? If she wanted no tax on tips, her and Biden could do that now. What's stopping them? Because they're not going to do it. It's a very popular thing. Their polls are telling them that it's very popular. So they're trying to turn it into their own issue, but they're not going to do it. She's lying. Now, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I promise you'll enjoy my content. This is the most pro-Donald Trump MAGA place you will find anywhere. Here's another great clip of President Trump from yesterday's press conference.
We're going to repeal Kamala's regulatory onslaught, saving households an estimated $5,000 a year at a minimum. the massive tax cuts and no tax on tips. We're going to make sure it gets done. She's not going to get it done. She didn't hear about it until I said it, and then she went out and she went and did it. And the other thing, no tax on Social Security. We're not going to have seniors who have been decimated by inflation pay tax on Social Security, and we'll get through it through growth. We have tremendous growth potential in this country, but not with these people running it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I'm so glad that Fox carried that press conference yesterday. I don't know if they're going to carry all of them, but if the people need to see what he really stands for, as opposed to having him defined based on pundits, having him on television with his press conferences so the American people can hear for themselves and decide is much better.
When I left office, I handed Kamala and crooked Joe Biden a surging economy with no inflation. The 30-year mortgage rate was around 2%. Gasoline had reached $1.87 a gallon. We actually had many months where it was lower than that, but we hit 187, which was a perfect place, an absolutely beautiful number. Real income surged by more than $4,200 a year when I was president. Harris and Biden blew it all up. If Kamala wins the election, the worst is yet to come.
That's right. If Kamala were to win, everything that we're suffering through now, she would take it as a mandate to keep doing what she's doing right now, screwing us over, but go full speed ahead. Right now, they're slowing down a little bit because there's an election, right, in less than 3 months. America is the #1 country. Absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. That's right. Yes, well, oh, I tell you, it's great. It's really just amazing. I cannot wait for election night when President Trump comes out and accepts victory yet again. It'll be just like the first night, except Barron will be a lot taller than he was the first time, right?
You don't have to imagine what a Kamala Harris presidency would be because you're living through that nightmare right now, and it is a nightmare.
Isn't it? Yeah. What is one thing that Kamala Harris has done that's positive for this country? Can you think of one? Can you think of one? No. Nothing. Nothing. She's done nothing. In other words, America's the greatest country ever. And gouging prices, that's exactly what she's doing. It's exactly what she is doing. I saw Dennis Quaid. I saw a clip of Dennis Quaid talking about the Reagan movie with Joe Rogan. And he was talking about how Facebook wouldn't allow them to advertise the Reagan movie. They said it was election interference. And, they, over these liberal loons at Facebook, they know that people are going to see that Ronald Reagan movie, in particular young people, and they're going to say, wow, he's just like Trump, and look at all that he accomplished. Yeah, so what? It's not election interference. A movie is not election interference. They had an Obama movie in 2020. It just wasn't popular. No one cared to see it. But we got a big movie star in the Reagan movie. But there was an Obama movie. I don't remember them trying to silence that. The liberals. What's happened in these last 4 years is really absolutely amazing, because what's happened is, I've been a conservative for a long time. I know many of you have. But for many millions of people in this country, they didn't realize how great Trump was until they've had 4 years of this. And when Trump's first term ended, I told a lot of you guys that watch me here, I said, Robert just gifted 10 memberships. That's awesome. Cool Roy, Marissa, Spindra, #1 Trump voter, Patriot Roy. You guys have got Mark. You guys just got the memberships. Michael Brown, Samantha, Bobby D, and Carla, you guys got the gifted memberships. Well, thank you so much for gifting those memberships. And don't forget, you guys, your name's in green now, and you got all the emojis. But when Trump left at the end of his first term, you know, I said then, right here on this channel, I said, you know, we're going to find that him having 2 non-consecutive terms is going to be better than 2 back-to-back, because people are going to feel what's going on in the country right now is bad, but this is what it's like with your typical politician. Things get worse, nothing gets done, because these guys never fix anything. And they're going to miss Trump. And when he comes back in his second term, he's going to be missed so much that he's going to have a mandate to accomplish everything that needs to get done and his agenda. And he is going to do it. When he comes back in, he is going to get to work right. He'll be working when he's president-elect. He's already said this, getting everything in order. That's why he's already announced his transition team. But he's going to have a mandate to finish the wall, shut down the border, do the mass deportations, and everything else that he's talking about. Things are going to be moving quick, and this country's going to come back so fast. It's going to be like a weight off of everyone's shoulders. And then he will walk in at the end of that second and non-consecutive term and endorse his political apprentice to be the second MAGA president, which looks like it's going to be J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is great. I watched his press conference today. He is really good, isn't he? He's really good. I didn't follow J.D. Vance too much until Trump picked him, but he is very good in these press conferences. And these reporters, sorry guys, I've been up a long time. These reporters, they're very nasty. They try to go after him, and he is just so good. He just turns the tables right on them, and he fillets them. He is going to be great as the second MAGA president. And, you know, the thing about J.D. Vance that they hate is he is such a regular guy who's made it. You know, J.D. Vance, it is not possible to be poorer than he was growing up. And look where he is now. And he's a role model. People, the more they see him and the more they learn about him, the more they're going to love him. And it scares the hell out of the media and the permanent Washington class, because, you know, most of these people that are in government are born into these political dynasties. They're connected, even if you don't know it, because they have different last names. They're born into these families, or they marry into them, or maybe they're recruited at some point in college or something. It's so rare for someone like J.D. Vance to make it. That's why they hated Sarah Palin, because she wasn't connected. She came from a middle-class family, school teacher parents and all. But she didn't have the political connections. She didn't have family connections. She didn't go to the famous Ivy League schools, and they just couldn't have it because she's not part of it. The couch story, by the way, is completely made up. They made up fake pages of his book and posted them online. That couch stuff is none of that's true, and you know that. You know that. Everybody knows that's not true. But liberals. But the permanent Washington class, they view themselves as a nobility, and when someone makes it into their ranks that they think doesn't belong there, they want to destroy them. J.D. Vance, Sarah Palin, and even though Trump is richer than a lot of them, he's not one of them, right? They can't buy him off. They haven't been able to blackmail him. They try to do all of that, and look what happens, right? Exactly. And what drives them nuts is just the love that the people have for him. Now, the Gen Zs are going to swing towards Trump big time, and that's another voting block that Democrats take for granted. Here's a Gen Z voter talking about the outrageous rents under Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
I'm 20 years old. Why is a one-bedroom apartment $600, $1,600? Like, oh my God, for 500 square foot.
One at a time, I said. Yeah.
Rent prices is outrageous. And then these jobs, they're bare minimum jobs. Like, I'm supposed to be in customer service. Before I was a server, I was working at like fast food restaurants, and nothing against them, love it, but we need them jobs. But why are you yelling at me over a burger? So it's one of those type of things. It's like the work life, trying to balance out school, trying to balance out finding housing. It's just overhyped. Like, I really waited my whole life to grow up and do this.
Yeah. I mean, and by the way, she's black. So she's black and she's Gen Z, the youth vote. And she's obviously voting for Trump because of the economy that we're suffering through under Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. It's really amazing. You know, Trump's done so many great things, but he has brought these groups of people that the Democrats have taken for granted, the youth vote, the black vote, other groups, and made them Republicans. Who would have thought of that? Who would have been able to do that? No one other than Trump. No one. You know, and he's really changed the party. The Democrats got by for many, many years, and they were able to get by convincing people of a lot of crap that wasn't true, and the party is over. And those first 4 years of Trump, people saw how great things were and see how they are now, and they understand. I mean, you know, what is Kamala Harris going to do when this comes up? Listen to this. A Guatemalan illegal was convicted last month of raping a Maryland resident. He was arrested again this week by Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers. He's 19 years old. He was sentenced on July 3rd to 20 years in prison for second-degree rape. However, the court suspended all but 190 days of that prison sentence, so he got out. And then he went and did it again. He's an illegal. He wouldn't even be here if it weren't for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Would not even be here. If Trump was in his second term right now, he would not be here. The woman was pregnant. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I mean, it's just awful. You know, how many of these crimes, and you've got Kamala Harris running around trying to tell you that she's out there running for women's rights or something. Women are being violated. They're being raped and murdered by illegals that she's bringing here. How's that being a representative of women's rights? And then earlier this week, NBC News interviewed blacks in Philadelphia. Listen.
How hard has inflation hit you?
It hit me hard. It's hitting me hard.
Who do you blame for it?
I blame the federal government at this point. If a working class mom who works as a paralegal cannot buy a $2 bell pepper because it's now $5, imagine a mother living on food stamps. Imagine a mother who's making minimum wage trying to feed children. They're killing us without killing us. If you understand that. They're killing us without telling us they're killing us. They're hurting people in ways that they can't help themselves. It's either feed my child or how about feed my children, and I don't, but I have to go work.
Yeah, isn't that terrible? So she's talking from experience, people she knows. Maybe it's her, I don't know. They're feeding their children. They don't have enough money to feed themselves, but they have to work full time. This is like J.D. Vance's upbringing, and that's a black woman in Philadelphia. You're telling me that there's some momentum behind Kamala Harris?
With the help of everyone in this room, 83 days from now, can you imagine 83 days? We're almost there. We got to get it. We're going to defeat super liberal, more liberal than Bernie Sanders. Did you hear that? The most liberal person in the Senate. Can you believe that? We're going to defeat Kamala Harris. We're going to win back the White House in a historic landslide, and we're going to take back our country. We're going to take it back.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
From today and from the day I take the oath of office, we will rapidly drive prices down and make America affordable again. We're going to make it affordable again.
Isn't that something? Make America affordable again. What a shame. And the thing about Kamala Harris and Biden, and by the way, if you're new to my channel, subscribe, guys, all right? This is where MAGA comes to talk. And my name is Brian, if you're new. The Democrats, Kamala Harris, she just doesn't care. She does not care about the suffering of the people in this country. She doesn't. She doesn't. That's why she came in with a bunch of fake commie promises, none of which are going to happen.
Are you better off now with Harris and Biden than you were with a person named President Donald J. Trump? Do you know him? He's a nice gentleman. Nice.
I mean, how much is your car insurance? You know, inflation has hit more than just food. We mostly talk about food. But the cost to repair vehicles has gone up, and auto insurance is through the roof.
President Donald J. Trump. Do you know him? He's a nice gentleman. Nice gentleman. With 4 more years of Harris, your finances will never recover. They're never going to recover. Our country will never recover, frankly, more importantly. It will be unrecoverable. Vote Trump and your incomes will soar, your savings will grow, young people will be able to afford a home, and we will bring back the American dream bigger, better, and stronger than ever before.
Absolutely. His speeches have just been on fire. This is this week.
And bring down, she says her plan is going to be, and bring down prices. She thinks she's going to bring down prices. Then why? Here's a simple little few words. Why didn't you do it, Kamala? Why didn't you do it? You've been there 3.5 years. Why aren't you doing it now? You can do it right now. I can say that with everything. Why hasn't she secured the border? You know, she was the border czar, right? She was the border czar. It was a big deal. She says now she wasn't the border czar. That's okay. She was in charge of the border. Call it whatever you want. But she was in charge, and it was the worst. This was the worst border in history. There's never been a border in the world like this. Why hasn't she brought back the jobs? Why? She talks about jobs. We're going to come up with a new plan. She's been there for 3.5 years with a man who, frankly, she defrauded the public because she didn't tell you about that man. I exposed him during the debate. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that debate Trump did with Biden was the greatest debate in history. When has there been a debate between two nominees for president? Because he had it locked up. He had the delegates, Biden, where the debate was so devastating that the front runner, that the nominee dropped out of the race. That's never happened before. I mean, that was some debate, I'll tell you.
Kamala Harris won't end the economic crisis. She will only make it worse. And why hasn't she done it? She talks about it. She's doing a plan. You know, she's going to announce it this week, maybe. She's waiting for me to announce it so she can copy it.
That's right. That's right. That's the no taxes on tips reference. Oh, man.
You look at car insurance.
Yeah, just what I was talking about, car insurance.
You look at car insurance. I couldn't believe when I looked at those numbers this morning. I was studying numbers, and I looked at the car insurance numbers. It's incredible. And that's just one of many. You can go through many. But the groceries, just to put it in simple terms, people go to the grocery store and they have less than half a deal. In fact, I had something here. I did have something I would show you. Wait a minute.
Oh, this is the Tic Tacs.
I don't know if you've seen this. I used it once. Oh, I have it. I do have it. Look at this. Look at this. So this is Tic Tacs, right? I don't know if I like the company. I've never met them. I have no idea. They're so lucky. Look at all the television. This is the greatest commercial they ever had. But that's what happened. This is inflation.
Yeah, he showed a little tiny thing of Tic Tacs, the shrinkflation, and he is right. He is right. This week, he's been so good this week. He had his rally. He had his press conference. There's a Trump rally tomorrow. He's just been spectacular all week.
Inflation is destroying our country. It's destroying our families. We will target everything from car affordability to housing affordability to insurance costs to supply chain issues. We have the worst supply chain we've ever had in the history of the country. To the price of prescription drugs. I will instruct my cabinet that I expect results within the first 100 days or much sooner than that.
That's right. I mean, this was just a great speech. And this was the Asheville, North Carolina speech this week, by the way, if you're wondering.
At the center of our effort to bring the cost of living under control will be the all-out push to end the Biden-Harris war on a thing called American energy. American energy. We will drill, baby, drill. We're going to bring energy prices down.
That's right. That's right. Going to bring the gas prices down, bring the inflation down.
Further combat inflation, I will terminate Kamala Harris's Green New Scam and rescind all of the unspent funds. Give all of the unspent funds back to building roads, bridges, and give it back to the government. And we won't, it's like throwing, what she did, what they did was like throwing billions of dollars out the window.
Yeah, yesterday at the press conference, President Trump made such a brilliant statement and something I'd never heard anybody talk about. He was talking about the Democrats wanting to bring us the electric semi-trucks. And he said a couple things about them. He said the electric semi-trucks, he says the batteries take up about half of the cargo space. So you lose all that cargo space. But he said that they're so heavy that we would have to rebuild all the bridges of America, that the bridges are not strong enough to handle the electric semis with full loads in them. They'd collapse. Has anyone considered that? They're too heavy. It's not going to work. Now, Joy Reid's gone nuts. And, she's done something that is a sign of insanity. Britney Spears did this. She's gone bald. She stopped wearing wigs and has shaved her head. And when Britney Spears shaved her head, that's when everybody knew she had a break from reality. Well, Joy Reid has done just that. And she does this. She has this very strange habit. She makes, like I do, she makes videos at home, but she gets really weird. This is Joy Reid. She's talking, by the way, about the that incredible spaces discussion between Elon Musk and President Trump, which has been seen by over 3 billion people so far.
What is wrong with this man? He literally blew his whole campaign in one Twitter Spaces. His campaign staff must be pulling all their hair out. They're going to be bald-headed like me. But not as cute.
She's lost her freaking mind. William, $5 super chat, thank you. Coach Tim Walz been crying all night because he found a damaged tampon in the boys' restroom. Yeah, well, what's he doing in the boys' restroom? I don't know. I mean, there's nothing. That is one of the dumbest things that I've ever heard of, is tampons in the boys' room. When I was a kid, we had that song. Wasn't it Motley Crue, Smoking in the Boys' Room? It wouldn't it be funny if they did an update on Smoking in the Boys' Room to Tampons in the Boys' Room? That would be a good one. That would be one I'd like to hear, that parody song. If Saturday Night Live was a real show and they weren't just a bunch of hacks, they would do that one. Now, don't forget, if you're new, make sure you subscribe to my channel, okay? This is where MAGA comes to talk. Let me know in the chat. Give me a yes or no. Are you voting for Trump? Yes or no? You voting for Trump? I'm assuming we're going to get all that. I mean, who would not be voting for Trump? Tampons in the boys' room. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to get the lyrics. I'm not good at writing songs. Look at all those yeses. Look at that. I saw a couple no's, but they got drowned out by all those yeses. Look at that. Absolutely. Absolutely. How could you not? Mm-hmm. Well, RFK said that it was nonsense that he approached Kamala about a cabinet position. They made that up. The Kamala Harris campaign made that up. Liars. Oh, he's winning. Don't you worry. He's winning. And when Trump wins, America wins. Absolutely. Absolutely. I have Edgardo, $2 super sticker. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Oh, my goodness. We got some breaking news here. Now, you remember last Friday, President Trump's plane had a malfunction and had to make an emergency landing. It just happened to J.D. Vance. Listen to this. J.D. Vance's plane, this is the one he's on it with his wife and his German Shepherd. J.D. Vance's plane made an emergency landing at Milwaukee International Airport after a malfunction mid-flight. According to reports, the plane made an emergency landing after its main door opened in mid-flight. Oh, my goodness. How did that happen? I don't believe in coincidences either, especially something like that. How many of you have been in a plane where the main door opened in flight. And how's that even possible? Let me see. That's on the Gateway Pundit. Let me see if there's anything on X. When they say the main door, do they mean the door that you enter and leave the plane from? Let me see if I can find anything on X. Yeah, somebody just posted. First, it was a malfunction with President Trump's plane. Now, a week later to the day, J.D. Vance's plane malfunctions. Let's see if we got anything new. When they say main door, it's got to be the door you enter. My God, how does that even open? Those doors are locked when the cabin's pressurized. What are the odds that there's an emergency landing on Trump's plane last Friday and J.D. Vance's plane this Friday, a week later, and it's just a coincidence? Just a coincidence. What are the odds of that? No, I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible at all to be a coincidence. I don't know. The Trump's plane, they said it was a hydraulics issue. J.D. Vance, the main door. I'm just assuming the main door is the door you enter the aircraft on. And I wonder what happened on the plane when it opened. Did it cause a disturbance? There he's there with his wife. He's got the dog. I didn't see the kids with him. It's the one nearest the cockpit? Yeah, that's where you would enter. That's where you board and deplane, as they call it. Okay, let me see here. Here's can't really find too many articles about it. Let's see if I can find one. Let me do this. Hold on. Okay, here's the Washington Post. The charter plane carrying J.D. Vance made an emergency landing in Milwaukee after a door seal malfunction. The plane, it's a Boeing 737, declared an emergency shortly after it left the airport in Milwaukee and it returned for repairs. The campaign spokesperson said in a statement the issue was resolved and the plane continued to Cincinnati, where J.D. Vance lives. No, I don't, and I don't. You know, people would just say, "Well, that's Boeing." No, that's insanity. That is insanity. This is not just some normal charter plane. This is a plane that is chartered by the Trump organization. This is something. Now, President Trump's going to have a rally tomorrow, so I'm assuming tomorrow will be the first rally behind the bulletproof glass. The last time I remember seeing him behind bulletproof glass was his January 6th speech. They had him behind glass. I don't like the glass. You know, I remember it looked kind of strange when he had it at the January 6th speech. But he'll have it tomorrow, I'm assuming. You know, I wish that he didn't need to have it, but, you know, we've got these liberals out there. Yeah, another small rally where thousands of people are waiting outside. That's right. Yeah, he does need it. But it's really a shame when he goes back to Butler, to the site of the incident. He has to be behind glass. It's just a sad thing. It really is. But that's how the liberals are. Look at the attitude and response that the Democrats had to President Trump's shooting. You know, there was one video that came out when he got to the ER, and it was just a short clip, just a few seconds long, and he pulled up to the emergency room, and you can hear a woman talking, and she was crying. She saw him. She didn't know he was coming. She's like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And then she saw him. He had blood on his face, and she was crying. You know, you don't see that clip on any of the news because they don't want any sympathy for him. Zero sympathy for him. I just find it impossible to believe that it's a coincidence that President Trump and J.D. Vance on separate aircraft, 1 week to the day apart, had emergencies on their planes and had to make emergency landings, and it's just a coincidence. Are planes breaking down that much? I don't think so. I don't think so. This is just strange. They'll stop at nothing. You imagine how terrifying that must have been for J.D. Vance? He's there with his wife and his German Shepherd, and the door opens. I couldn't imagine. What must that be like? It's got to be frightening. I don't like flying in general. I used to love it until 9/11. I really? Have any of you been in a plane where the door opened? Come on. You know, with those doors, when the cabin is pressurized, they're locked. It has to be a major malfunction for the plane to door to open in flight like that on that kind of aircraft. They automatically lock with the cabin being pressurized. Oh, it's got to be scary. It's got to be frightening. I wouldn't have wanted to get back on the same plane, tell you the truth. Would you? Decompression. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I wonder what it was like on the plane. Did it get loud and windy? Did it not? I'd like to know. The last time you flew was in 1986. Holy smokes. No, I don't either. There's just both of their planes a week apart. How is that even possible? How is that even possible? No, it happened. It's reported everywhere. That the story I read was from the Washington Post. That's a liberal paper of Woodward and Bernstein and Watergate. Yeah, it feels like it's going to suck you out. Yeah, well, you know, the last time I flew was a few months ago. I flew out to California to visit my daughter, and I wore the seatbelt the whole time. I did not take the seatbelt off, and the next time I fly, I'm not going to take it off either. There's no way. But I don't know anyone who's been in a plane where the doors opened up, and then the week before, their boss has to make an emergency landing because the hydraulics go out. Come on, come on. You know, and commercial jets fly non-freaking stop. They're like buses, and they don't have problems like that. Come on. Yeah, you're supposed to keep the seatbelt on, but not everybody does. If you're flying with J.D. Vance, you better. You know, I wonder, you know what I wonder since Trump had that incident, is he flying with his family or separate? And do he and J.D. Vance fly separately too? Because J.D.'s got his own plane now. That was such a badass move, wasn't it? A couple days ago when J.D. Vance walked over to Air Force Two, that was great. You know, when he was speaking to the press in front of Kamala's plane, he said it's going to be my plane in a few months. I thought that was crazy. Kamala was behind him. If you go back and look at that video, okay, the Kamala Harris's SUVs are behind her. She was sitting in her SUV, and they drove off when he was talking. It had to be a security breach. There's just no way both of them had malfunctions on their aircraft a week apart. There's just no way in hell. Nothing could convince me of that. And I'm looking here. Okay, it is starting the trend. J.D. Vance's campaign plane, nicknamed Trump Force 2. Oh, I've not heard that before. Trump Force 2. Made an emergency landing in Milwaukee after a door seal malfunction mid-flight. The Boeing 737 charter aircraft carrying Vance and his wife and German Shepherd returned to Milwaukee International Airport for repairs before continuing to Cincinnati. Can you imagine what it must be like? You're on a plane, and there's the door blows open. There's all that noise, decompression. Oh, my goodness. I wonder if the masks came down. The captain comes on and says, we've got a mid-flight emergency. We're turning around to the airport and making an emergency landing. Oh, my gosh. That would scare the crap out of me. Would it scare you? Trump Force 2. The incident occurred shortly after the plane left, prompting a declaration of emergency. The issue was resolved. The plane resumed its flight path. Forget about that. The event follows a previous mechanical issue with the plane carrying Donald Trump the week prior. That's right. The door didn't blow open, it malfunctioned. We don't know. We don't have a lot of details. But if the captain comes on and tells me there's an emergency and they're turning around and if you're on a plane and they don't even tell you there's an emergency and they come on and tell you they're turning around and they're landing at the airport you just took off from, you know something's gone wrong. That's not good. That's not something you want to hear. That's scary stuff. That's very scary. Were you a pilot on this plane? Were you there? Were you flying J.D. Vance around? Do you know what happened? It's very fishy. Both of them a week apart? Come on. They shot President Trump at the rally. They just caught another assassin. Then a few days after they catch that Palestinian assassin that was trying to get to Trump, his plane has a mid-air malfunction, has to turn around and land at an alternative airport. Then, a week later, J.D. Vance's plane has an emergency and has to turn around and land right after it takes off. Come on. Come on. There's too many things going on here. Too many things going on. Would you feel comfortable flying with Trump or J.D. Vance? Would you go on those planes and fly right now? Would you feel totally safe with your wife and kids and your whole family? Or would you be scared? What do you guys think? Patricia says no. Save the dog. Absolutely. That was a great... His dog is very well behaved. Not anymore. No, a lot of no's. There's a yes, bunch of no's. Yeah, a bunch of no's. Yeah, I know. That's right. That's right. Tour bus. Take a bus. Well, it's hard to campaign across the nation on a bus. No, I'd be nervous. Safer than most? I don't think so. Yeah, 3-letter people, exactly. The only people Trump can trust are people that were on those planes when these things happened. And even those guys, you'd have to check out a little bit. You got to be doubly sure they weren't ready to sacrifice some of their own. This is just crazy. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. And if you would like to support my content, there's a link pinned at the top of the chat to my MyPillow page. There's also a link in the description of the video. You can save up to 80% off using my promo code Kane at checkout on some of the most popular MyPillow products. And it is free shipping site-wide with my promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, on orders over $75. That's promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, at checkout at MyPillow.com. Free shipping on orders over $75 and save up to 80%. Absolutely. Now, I do have a podcast that I am going to, it's already ready to go. And what time would you guys like me to start the podcast? 6:30, 6:50. What would you guys? Were you guys going to join? This is a good podcast. My wife and I. It's a great podcast. I'll have the live chat set up. And no, actually, you can get the MyPillow for less than $20 with my promo code Kane. But it's a great show. We're going to talk about this Chinese asset, Tim Walz. 7 p.m. 7 Central. 7 Central. That's kind of late. No, MyPillow does not have couches. How about... no, not to... No, that's too late. 7 p.m. Eastern. Mr. X says 7 p.m. Now, my podcast will have a live chat. It'll be a live premiere, so there'll be a live chat. I'll be in there with these guys. Okay, and he said, okay, I will set it up for 7 p.m. Eastern. Hold on, let me do it while I'm talking to you. Let's see. And we'll set it up for 7 p.m. while I'm talking to you here. All right, 7 p.m. Eastern. And the thumbnail on it, Tim Walz, Chinese asset with a question mark. And it's a very good podcast. You will not want to miss it. I just set it up for 7 p.m. Eastern. And, of course, my wife, Kathy, is the co-host. You will not want to miss it. It's a very good show. We cover a lot. Believe me, we cover a lot. And you're going to really enjoy it. It's a very good podcast. Well, listen, if you are new to my channel, welcome. Thanks for joining me. I really do appreciate it. And, yeah, that's right. And you'll love the community. We got a great community here. Even if you're not MAGA, you will be, okay? Don't worry. You will be. If you watch long enough, how could you not be red-pilled, right? Watching this channel. Absolutely. Well, listen, everyone, thanks for watching. The podcast will go live at 7 p.m. Eastern, but the chat is already going, okay, because I just set it up. So when I end this stream, if you want to continue to chat, you can jump over to that one and chat in there, and the show will be live at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching, everyone. My name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk.